Yeah. Welcome to the Minor Basketball Podcast, Playoff Edition. I'm Evan.
I'm Ja.
And this is our playoff special where we recap, break down, and analyze players and teams from in the playoffs from the previous games from the previous week. And Ja, both games 1 and 2 are in the books for the Eastern and Western Conference, and we have some things to discuss from each. So, Ja, I'll pass it to you to start off since I couldn't get the opportunity to watch majority of it. But what the hell happened with the Mavericks in Game 2?
Well, I'll tell you what it was.
Dallas.
Well, it was you already know how the Warriors is. They've been doing this for basically 7 years now. Regardless of the plays that came across, the second half is their thing. You know what I mean? It don't matter what kind of lead an opponent has, really. Of course, they're not the Warriors of old, but it doesn't matter what lead that they have, really. They always have faith and belief in their system that once the second half hits, once they hit a couple of shots, it's doomsday for you. They could be down by 50. And the moment against Memphis it was different. Well, okay, so let me just say when they're down by 30, the moment they hit a couple of shots, be aware because it's just like they out for blood now, and that's basically what happened because Dallas had it going the whole first half. They were up by extreme amount of points, double digits, like close to 20, 21. And then in that middle of the third quarter, the Warriors started to hit a couple of shots, started playing some good defense. I know there's been a couple of foul troubles, aka Madagascar. I mean strike, donkey for strike, but they just started getting it going. You talk about Kevon Looney, you talk about the big time shots, Otto Porter coming in and making a good contribution, coming off the bench. Of course, it's a pool party. And of course, the one and only, the man, the greatest GOAT shooter of all time, Stephon Curry. He's going to do what he does, and that's what happened. The Warriors just stuck to this philosophy, and in that second half, they went on a huge run, scored over 40 points in that last quarter.
I'm disappointed in the Mavericks, considering that they had a lead, and this is their time to win. This is a great chance to win, steal a home court, get that clutch win against the Warriors, and they just couldn't seal a deal, and now the Warriors remain undefeated at home. In
this playoffs. Yeah.
In these playoffs. It's just insane, man. And especially coming off the Game 1 blowout that they did to Dallas. I mean, where Luka was struggling and Jalen Brunson was struggling, Reggie Bullock was struggling, all of the Mavs struggling offensively. And, that's just when you're struggling offensively against the Warriors, especially at home, when they're at home, you're not going to win.
Exactly. There's no chance. And here's my thing. I know a lot of people, they're going to look at this game and talk about, oh, my gosh, this is perfect because, Dallas is – we love to believe in superstitions, right, or believe in what's the recent kind of thing, right, in terms of, oh, Dallas is down by 2-0. So, you know what I mean? So, this was perfect because what happened last year. I said, let me tell you something. No disrespect to Phoenix or Golden State. These are two different animals. These are two different types of teams. One is well-established, know their system, while another team – even though they know their system in a way, it's still not highly established as it is compared to Golden State. Golden State is a different type of machine. So with Dallas being down 2-0, they can't afford to have any slip-ups, unlike what happened in the last. You know what I mean? Like Golden State will immediately take advantage because, again, unlike Phoenix, they have been in these situations plenty of times before. If you haven't forgotten, let me just remind you. This franchise, since Stephen Curry has been the main guy, has been three-time champions. Mm-hmm. So if you think that this is going to bother them or phase them, no, it's not. This could easily be a sweep if Dallas lets one mistake go. Yep. I still got Dallas going to the finals.
No, you don't.
But yeah,
First of all,
that's my pick.
First of all, cut it. That's not his pick.
Yes,
That's
it
not
is.
his pick.
Yes,
He
it is.
wants them to win, but just because he wants them to win doesn't mean he thinks they're going to win. I actually have the Mavs winning. That's actually my pick.
That's
Now,
my pick too.
I might be an idiot for that pick. Currently, they're down 2-0 and got blown out in game 1 and blew a lead in game 2. But I'm sticking with it. That's still my pick.
And it's still my pick. I'm sticking with it too.
That's not his pick. That's not his pick. He wants them to win. Just because he wants something to happen doesn't mean he think it's going to happen. There's a lot of wants. There's a lot of wants in this man's life. Doesn't mean that he thinks it could happen.
Nah, you violated.
All right. That does not mean he thinks it's going to happen. It's the same. It's the same thing with the situation. All right. He thinks the Warriors is going to win. That's his pick. My pick though is the Mavs. Now I said the Mavs in 6. I had to stretch that to 7. So I don't think they're winning 4 straight. I don't think they're winning 4 straight.
Yeah.
But I still think they have a chance.
Yeah, you're not my man.
What? I didn't elaborate on that. I mean, everybody has wants in their life. What that's not saying? That's not saying anything. I have wants in my life. Doesn't mean I think it's going to happen.
You know, I want to be like 7 feet, and like they just said,
There you go. But that is kind of like a permanent thing. The Warriors is not a permanent thing. That's just
yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to happen. He's never going to be 7 feet. The Warriors could win. Warriors could lose. No.
Anyway. I just got to get some hills.
I'm not gonna say anything. Let's move on. Let's move on from the Western Conference Finals. The Warriors are up 2-0, blowing the Mavericks out in game 1 and coming back from how much did they down? 19?
Yeah, they was down by like 19-20.
And coming back in game 2, getting their home court advantage, sweeping their home floor against Dallas. Now Dallas, they got to get the win in game 3. Obviously, we all know what happens when you go down 3-0. It's pretty self-explanatory. And with that being said, Ja, who do you have in game 3?
I'm gonna stick with Dallas. Yeah, that's my pick.
If you have Dallas in this series, you have to pick Dallas to win game 3.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because you don't have, but there's no way that Dallas or any team ever is coming back from a 3-0 lead. Now in my own eyes, because I haven't seen it. Probably happen when I'm dead. So
like the only way that the Mavericks are losing game 3 if Dirk comes back. Like Dirk makes things worse. That's all.
Why would a Finals MVP make things worse? And then an all-time great player make things worse.
Because I know he's a Finals MVP, but we saw what happened in 2006 and 2007.
Yeah, but we're going off recently, right? Recently, what happened? 2006 or 2011?
2012 happened.
Thank you. Let's move on. He was still playing great. Let's move on.
It's trying to exit.
He was still playing great. Let's move on. Trying to discredit another all-time great. Doesn't surprise me.
Hey,
I've seen it happen. I didn't say anything about KG. I've seen it happen many times. It doesn't surprise me now. It does not. Luka, you next. Just don't get too great. Definitely don't win this year. Don't win this year because you next.
Hey, yo, what happens when you put Hannah Montana in France?
Anyway, we're gonna move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. Now, game 1 was a close game. Well, not close game. Game 1, it felt like the first half was in Boston's favor. They had the control. They had their defense rolling. And even though they didn't have Marcus Smart and Al Horford, they were still in good position. That third quarter hit, and man, the switch just flipped for the Miami Heat, and their defense started rolling. Jimmy Butler started to get it going, and they shut down Jason Tatum in that second half, and they ultimately won that second game. And you saw Marcus Smart and Al Horford, they were missed. And in game 2, they both played. In game 2, it was a different, very, very different story. From the jump, the Celtics had the advantage, and they just ran with it for majority of this game.
Yeah.
Well, for the rest of this game.
Yeah. I feel like I got a reason to why.
And why is that?
You know, again, I feel like it all comes down to like, okay, I'm not gonna say it all comes down to one person, but I feel like one person is not exerting himself enough offensively as this second best player. And I know that's not his primary role, or that's not his main role. But I feel like Bam has not given much offensively that I want him to give. You know, obviously he's not a scorer. Like, you know, he does other things rather than just constantly score. That's cool. But you're the second best player in the team. And I know your impact is mainly on defense, but you do have a good offensive game. And I don't feel like he's exerting himself enough on that end of the floor. I understand he's more pertain on trying to make sure defensively, because that's what the Miami Heat philosophy is all about. Your defense creates your offense a little bit, but you got to be more aggressive. Like what I saw in game one from him in that second half specifically was how impactful he was defensively, which was good because obviously, you know, that helped shut down Boston big time in terms of their point production. And also, even though he didn't give much game one offensively, it didn't need, because Jimmy Butler went off for damn near 100. So, like, you know, it's understood. And along with the fact that the other Heat players contributed, especially from the three, when he started getting hot. But that's the thing. When Boston decided to got back their main guys, especially Marcus Smart, who makes their defense way more better, and they decide to stop Jimmy Butler, even though he still had a good game. You know, it's just like, who else are you gonna go to? Like, yes, Oladipo's coming off the bench, that's cool and all the stuff like that. But in terms of the starters and their 3-point is not going, who else you want to rely on? You want to rely on the inside presence, and I feel like Bam needs to be like that. Bam needs to be more of that interior presence, just like how he is on the defensive end, on the offensive end.
Yeah, now I see your point with Bam, but I mean, I think Boston's big men, especially, I think they're great interior and great in the paint and great in the post.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's probably not their game plan. Maybe their game plan is for threes and Jimmy Butler. And maybe their game plan is to have Bam rely more on rebounds and defense and facilitating.
Well, hey, you already know what to say. What happens when you live by the three and die by the three? If you're not going to state, that's not going to work for long. But okay, go ahead.
But I don't think the Heat are live by three, die by three team.
Hey, you should probably rely more on the 3-point line anyway. So hey, go ahead. Let's see what happens. Just know, don't get blown out again. Trust and believe. I have y'all going to the finals, and I'm not switching up. Trust and believe. I'm not trying to switch up.
Well, listen, it's only 1-1. Like he got one. Celtics did their job stealing the home court from Miami, and now they're on their way to the Garden, TD Garden, not their old Boston Garden arena, but and definitely not the other one. But anyway, in Boston now for Game 3, that is tonight. So, right, that's tonight if I'm making sure. So who you got, John?
I feel like it's going to go in the pattern. I feel like the home team wins the first, and then the road team wins the second. So I got in this Game 3. I got Boston winning at home.
I agree. I also got Boston winning Game 3. It should be a good game. Hopefully,
I hope and pray.
Maybe he can bounce back with their adjustments. You know, Spo's a great coach.
Yeah.
Top 15 all time, real deserved.
With the way that Email Doku's been coaching, I think he probably top 10 all time. You know, yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah, Doku's done a great job, and also Brad Stevens is taking the role of the place of Danny Ainge, has done a fantastic job as well.
Yeah,
it's a whole team effort in Boston. Right. It's a big Game 3. We'll see what happens. 2 big Game 3s. One team needs that Game 3 more than the other, though. The Mavericks need that Game 3.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
More than the Celtics, Heat, or Warriors.
Yep.
Hey. Well, a little short, quick pod. John, do you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to say?
Hey, a 2011 rematch. That's all I gotta say.
Oh yeah, do you have any opinions on the all rookie teams and all defensive teams?
Oh, shoot. Okay. I didn't get to see him. Can you run them down for me real quick?
Yep, I got you. Just give me 1 sec. All right, so the all rookie teams, Ja. All rookie first team. Rookie of the year, Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, and Franz Wagner.
Franz Wagner. Well, I guess this was based on positions, I guess, because if this was positionless, I felt like Josh Giddey should have been on the first team. I felt like he had a really good, impactful season for the OKC Thunder. I know they didn't go far or anything like that, but in terms of the impact and the contributions that he made in that team, he has shown that he could be their lead guard for the future. In terms of how he has ran that team along, playing the side with SGA.
Mm-hmm.
He has had a whole lot of individual good performances. He's not flash or anything, but he's a gifted passer. He has his beautiful. He has really good IQ, and he makes the right plays. He's not going to like razzle or dazzle you, but he's a big guard who could get his teammates in the right places, and I feel like he's shown that. And I felt like he had a way more impactful season than Franz Wagner.
Franz Wagner has been putting up some good numbers. He has some good production in Orlando.
Yeah, he has some good production. Don't get me wrong. He has had some good production. I just don't feel like he was better than Josh Giddey. But hey, again, this is probably because of his goal.
Positions.
So I can't say nothing.
Well,
But if this is positionless, I have him over. I have Josh Giddey over him.
I think it might be positionless, but either way. NBA All Rookie second teams.
Mm-hmm.
The man from OKC, Josh Giddey, Chris Duarte, Indiana, Ayo from the Chicago Bulls, Bones from Denver, and Herbert Jones, rookie from New Orleans.
Yeah, I think that I don't have a problem with that list. I feel like the only thing I could say is that Chris Duarte in the first half of the season, he looked like he was on his way to being on the first team, but then there's something slipped. Indiana started to go through some changes and stuff like that, and then
It's an Indiana thing.
yeah. So basically, he slipped down. But outside of that, I don't have a problem with that list. I agree. Again,
right.
outside of the Josh Giddey one.
Well, Jose Calderon stealing Chris Paul probably would have been on 2 8-second violation. But all right, from that's all rookie teams. So let's go to the all defensive teams. All defensive first team. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Mikal Bridges, Rudy Gobert, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart.
Dang, I thought Ben Simmons would be on the list. Oh wait, my bad. Yeah, I can't go against that. I can't go against that. That's a really good list right there. Those are the best defenders in the game. Obviously, we all know that AD wasn't going to be on it because we can never see him.
Let's go to the second team. Let's go to the second team. All defensive second team. Bam Adebayo, Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, Matisse Thybulle, and Robert Williams III.
Can't go against that. Those are some of the best defenders in the game. And I think whenever you talk about defense, those guys are usually at the top of the list or well known for being the best defenders on their team.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I mean? So I can't go against that. I can't. Both lists sound great. I just can't go against it because that list is compromised of legit, like probably the top 10 to 15 best defenders in the game. If Kawhi was playing right now, of course he'll be up there, but he ain't playing.
And the funny thing is when I look at the voting breakdown, Bam got more first place votes than Jaren Jackson Jr. But Jaren Jackson Jr. got more total points voting by one. By one.
Hey, you know, don't hit me with that because, like, you know, I'm not really good at understanding these things and how they, like, you know, I don't know how to make sense of this, to be honest.
Let's just say first place voting equals 2 points. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Bam had 57. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 55.
Yeah.
Second place voting, only 1 point. But Jaren Jackson Jr. had 43 and Bam had 38. And in total points, Jaren Jackson Jr.'s was 153 and Bam was 152. You understanding?
Yeah, I understand it. I understand it now. I see what you're saying.
So it was really close. And I mean, Bam had a case. He was fourth place in Defensive Player of the Year voting.
Yeah.
And, you know, he didn't like that. He didn't in the top three. And he thinks that he should get more recognition for his defensive play. And I agree with that. Jaren Jackson Jr. is the lead leader in blocks.
You know, it could go either way. It could go either way. Like, you know, Bam could have a perfect case to be on that first team, no question. But like, you know, sometimes if you look at it right now, you know, probably it's just going off of this season, probably Jaren Jackson, the way he has been and the way that the Memphis Grizzlies has been defensively, they just probably, don't get me wrong, Miami Heat will always be a top defensive team regardless of what season that they're in. But in terms of this season, probably Jaren Jackson was more impactful for his team on the defensive end compared to how Bam was for his team. Because, look, get me wrong, Miami was a well-rounded defensive team, you know, and they go off of whoever they are. Like, again, they got some of the best defenders. Again, they got Jimmy for the perimeter. They got Bam for the interior, you know what I mean? So, like, they're always going to be a well-rounded defensive team when they got those two. But when you look at Jaren is probably the driving force defensively for that team. I can't think of anybody else on that Memphis Grizzlies team who's legit like the driving force, who's the main guy who could get it going.
Dillon Brooks smacking Gary Payton in the head, maybe.
Don't get me wrong. Dillon Brooks is good. Dillon Brooks is a good defender also, but I don't look at him as being better than Jaren.
No.
And I feel like Jaren could do it better both on the perimeter and interior. So that's why I say it's probably like that individual impact. Don't get me wrong, both impactful, but in terms of this season, probably Jaren has been that main force to help them get it started. If that makes sense, I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. I hear you. I think he's the best defender as well, and he has the right to have his name on the first All-NBA first team as well. But Bam just has just as big of a case, as good of a case. But all right, those are the all rookie teams. Those are all defensive teams. Playoff predictions for Game 3. We both got Dallas and both have Boston. We're not changing our overall picks on the series based on the first two games. So
Abs, I still got you. Always.
He still has the Warriors. I still have the Mavs. He still has the Heat, and I still have the Celtics. But for now, thank you guys for watching today's podcast. Make sure you tune into our next podcast, which will be after Game 4. We're taking two games. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, support channel, give us feedback, all that good stuff.
And also tune into our social medias, our TikTok and our Instagram.
Yes. And of course, once again, I'm Evan.
I'm Ja.
And this was my basketball podcast.
Playoff edition.